So can we say obedience and submissiveness instead of Ramadan is a month of obedience? Or
Yeah, so that's a good point, which is Islam. Yeah, you submit. Uh, when
you
you,
show your obedience to your Creator?
yeah, probably it seems from what the Quran is mentioned regarding taqwa that your submission would come to you naturally when you will have this inner realization
Mm.
that you are living in a world whose creator is actually watching you. He knows what you're doing. So you will submit. Uh, Indeed, submission can also come to you as a consequence of some principle that you've internalized. I must follow my God's commands. Fine. I am a Muslim and I should be a good, obedient servant of Allah. That's fine. But there is an additional, some additional, you know, quality, ability that probably helps in doing it even more effectively. And that is that he knows what I'm doing. So, I have to do it in a way that I'm conscious of his presence. And that makes the ability to submit probably even more strong and effective. Yes, Zahid Bashir Saab.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Sir, while you were explaining Islam, Iman, and then Ihsan, so apparently it sounds like it's the ultimate or better level of Iman or Islam. In Quran, this is a very famous ayat, Surah Rahman, ayat 60. Hal jazaa'ul ihsan illa al-ihsan. While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the blessings of Jannah, so this ayat came there. So that is it right to understand that these blessings are for the people who take their iman to the ihsan level, or it's a different way of understanding this? And Allah's ihsan is fine, Jannah. Hal jazaa'ul ihsan. So that means jaza of ihsan mean ihsan, iman which is to the level of ihsan, if I'm trying to make some sense out of it.
No, you're absolutely right. You see, in both Surah Ar-Rahman and the next Surah, Surah Al-Waqi'ah, the Almighty is talking about two different Jannatan, two different paradises. And it seems, well, in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, it's very clear. But in Surah Rahman too, it seems in the light of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, quite clear that when he is describing the qualities, the features of those two paradises, Jannat, Jannatan, there are two different places. One is excellent, and the other is super excellent. You know, so when he's saying that Al Jazaul Ihsani illa Ihsan, to me it seems. I'm sure that there are other dimensions to understanding this verse. That if there are people who have behaved in this worldly life at the level of ihsan, I am going to give them jaza reward of at the same level. And obviously, the performance at the level of ihsan of the individual uh, will have no comparison with the reward that the Almighty is going to offer. But obviously, it's going to be different from the reward that He's going to give to what Surah Al-Waqi'ah says, Ashabul Yameen, people who are going to be on the right side. Because these people are described in Surah Al-Waqi'ah as As-Sabiqun al-Awwalun, those who take lead, and they are the foremost. They leave all other people behind. the fact of the matter is that in this life too, we see those people. I mean, some people who are so dedicated, so sincere, that you just wonder, I mean, how could a human being be like that? But the Almighty gives this, what you call tawfiq to some people who do perform in such an outstanding way. You know, their sincerity, their dedication, their sacrifice, their swiftness to go for the opportunity to do good are unmatchable. So, that's what happens. And therefore, I mean, don't be surprised that if they are going to be rewarded with a matching reward, uh, it's understandable.
This book is Udallal Mutafaq. So if a anti-theist or atheist person reads the book, he cannot get any guidance.
No, I would not say that. He can get guidance. You see, my understanding again, there can be a difference of opinion. We have not seen the to me are the people who as yet have not been able to understand God and His message, and therefore they are rejecting it. Uh, and as and when it would be presented to them properly, they will be inclined. They're good people, they tell the truth, they help people, but somehow they are put off. But there are others who are against religion because they're arrogant. They don't want to listen, they don't want to understand. Who is who, I don't know. So I'm sure that if an atheist, a so called atheist, is actually deep down muttaqi, and I say muttaqi, what it means is the Quran says that each human being was sent to this world, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. So there is taqwa, piety, goodness, and this is because of a hidden God consciousness in every human being. So if there is somebody out there and he is able to start to begin to understand the Quran, he can. I mean, is it not a fact that there are some atheists who change? How can they change? Is it not a fact that there were people who were polytheists in Mecca? They changed. Jews, Christians. You see, this is one area where, unfortunately, I think we Muslims, many of us have gone wrong. Uh, there is a big difference, and I've talked about it in these sessions. There is a big, huge difference in the times when the prophets are there physically present, delivering Allah's message directly to the people, and the times when they are not there, and this task is being done by people who believe in them. They're ordinary people. They're delivering the message. So it is possible. Well, I mean, imagine it was possible even in the case of prophets. I mean, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was physically present. Makkah was a very small place with very, hardly a few thousand, at the maximum. And Umar radiallahu anhu was very close. I mean, he must have seen the Prophet every day after he declared that he was a prophet. 6 years, and he couldn't believe. I mean, he was not an evil person. Had he been an evil person, he would have never believed. There was this goodness within him. But despite that goodness that is there within a human being, there are aspects of evil. People get emotional. People are attached to their traditions. I mean, look at Khalid bin Walid. It took 18 years. He fought 3 major battles against Islam, Muslims. And in those battles, Prophet ﷺ was there in the opposite army. And yet he was given the opportunity of believing. So, we should never judge others by what they are apparently. Their appearance is because of the circumstances that they've gone through. We don't know. We don't know honestly. So yes, an atheist can be a potential muttaqi.
Do we have to elaborate the definition of the word muttaqin? I mean, people who are not Muslim, they can be muttaqin. People who don't believe in that there should be a broader definition of what muttaqin word should not be limited to certain things.
Yep, I agree. You see, it is basically a realization within a human being that there is something evil, some aspects of my personality and some aspects of human life uh, which are evil, and there are others which are good and desirable. And he is conscious of it. Now, when my thesis is that if a person is conscious of it, honestly, he cannot reject God unless God has been presented to him in such a poor way that he says, I'm sorry, this God I can't accept. The God that you are telling me is your God who will throw all people into the hellfire to dwell therein forever except your group. Sorry, I can't accept it. I think he has excuse. He should be informed that no, don't listen to this man. He is a good person, but there are difficulties in his understanding. Listen to somebody else. And honestly, the one thing I am always amazed to imagine how the Almighty is going to decide about the fate of each and every human being on the day of judgment. My goodness, it would be such a difficult thing for the Almighty. Well, for somebody else to do, but for the Almighty is going to be simple. He knows everything. He is wise. He is just, and he is kind. And wow, he will have some computer, some system, and would come a decision, and everybody was going to be amazed. Wow, absolutely right. That's exactly how it should be. Everything else is understandable. I mean that he's going to recreate everything after we are dead. That's quite understandable. This is also understandable. It just amazes you, that he's going to decide about everything. And honestly, when you imagine that, astaghfirullah, you imagine something else too. It's going to be full of surprises. I mean, people would wonder, this man, really? And this man, he was a wrong person. And he was a good person. Wow. Because it's Allah only who knows what is there hidden in the hearts of people. And he knows people's circumstances. And he's going to decide. And he's the best judge. I think we have done enough for today. If there are no other questions. Yes.
In this case, rather than just going into this, we already sort of, based on our experience, we know that the person, what is his approach basically? Objective approach to do something is subjective. If we know for sure, all the Muslim sects, their approach to Quran is quite subjective, just to prove their sect to be correct and the others to be wrong. But if they look at Quran objectively, open the book for the guidance, book will open on it, then it become a different. Same thing with the atheists. If they are objectively looking for a guidance, it becomes guidance.
Right.
If they came to Quran just to prove that Muslims are wrong,
Right.
it's not going to happen because it's not nothing to do with the Quran in that case.
Absolutely.
Or anything. Basically, it's your own approach. What do you want to do?
But you're right. You're absolutely right. But again, what you're saying is right, but the reality is far more complex because each individual is a different entity. You know, within those sects that you're talking about, there are some who are very staunch and deep in what they believe in and what they're doing. There are others who are wondering what's happening to this man. I mean, why is he so strict? But they can't express it. They did not get the opportunity, a chance to know some other views. So, you know, they're different people. Likewise, in the case of atheists, I agree. Yeah. So it all depends. And Allah knows. It's only He who knows how, and He's going to decide. And as I said, the decision is going to be absolutely spot on. Subhanallah. Okay.
The thing is to communicate with Conway that Quran is not copyrighted to Muslims.
That is important. Yeah, very right.
Definitely, this is not copyrighted.
Absolutely, you're very right.
Anybody can use it as a reference. Muslim, non-Muslim, or even the people.
I honestly feel the responsibility for it. You're right. That it's for everyone. So how can we lay claim on having copyright of it? You know, to monopolize it. We can't. We just can't.
The behavior is different. I was in Saudi Arabia, I met one of the American told me he was in Saudi Arabia, he wanted to learn about Islam. He said, I went to the bookstore in Riyadh and he asked to buy the copy of the guy on the front desk told him, no, you cannot. He asked, why is it guaranteed?
No, this is the thing that person was not guided properly. Let me tell you, there was a Dawat al-Islam, they were having offices and non-Muslims were appreciated to go there, and they not only give them the copies of Quran in English, but they also give them regular kind of meetings or encourage them to come. There were offices where you can go, and any non-Muslim can go get to the Quran which is in English. So the situation is that he came across with the wrong person.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it, I'm not.
It's not.
Yeah, that's
We can't generalize.
Yeah.
Okay, Zora Saiba, I think probably your question will be the last one. And I'll try to make my answer as brief as I can manage. What is your question? Your question, Zahid Saab. Yes.
Again, sir, sorry to bother you, just small question. We are living in Canada, and it's, of course, it's a non-Muslim country or society. We are here, and there is no Prophet after Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. How much are we responsible to convey the message to non-Muslims? We are all Muslims sitting together talking about religion, even right now. And how much are the chances they will bring istighasa against us in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we did not convey their message and they died without Iman or without Islam? Or Allah is not depending on us. He might have some other means to convey. So this is how we're going to understand our responsibility and to what extent. Thank you.
The only objection to your question is that it's not a small question. You see, to the last part of your question, I would say that Allah has His own ways, but all ways of Allah in this matter are going to come into action through humans. He is not going to send birds or fish or some other, angels or jinns. It's humans, Muslims, they are going to do something about it. The other thing is that Allah has not put burden on anyone beyond his her capacity. So what He has said to us, to you all, is that apart from Iman and Amal Saleh, you have to do watawaso bil haqqi watawaso bis sabr. You exhort each other towards truth and steadfastness. Now, what it means is that, Zahid Saab, you're living in this country, you have a family, but you have neighbors as well. If you are working in an office, you have colleagues. You are a student, you have class fellows. If you are a businessman, you have clients and others. Like you would tell anyone who, for example, is, God forbid, going to a place where you know there is going to be problems. The weather is not good, the road is not good. You will tell him, don't go there in these days. Even more important is obviously the future, the eternal future of everyone. So if you have people that you know well, who you are friends with, and by the way, there's nothing wrong with being friends with non-Muslims. We actually should be, obviously remaining within the limits of decency. And we should politely and wisely uh, invite them as best as we can. And if you find that there is somebody who can do this work at a bigger level, help him. You are responsible only to the extent you can perform. And for that, you will be responsible. Nothing beyond that. But I think if we all start performing to our abilities and our potentials, this message, inshallah, is going to spread across. I'm not even going to ask for more questions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.